So it's Sunday morning, and it's looking pretty nasty outside, and we're in worship. What happens if there's a tornado in the area?
Okay, if we are here Sunday morning and we are under a tornado watch or a tornado warning, we have a security person on duty downstairs in the security room where we have a television set up.
Okay.
We'll be monitoring the local TV stations. If one of the weather people says that we have a tornado on the ground that is moving directly towards our church, say maybe it's 4 or 5 miles away, and we have maybe 5 or 6 minutes worth of warning time to activate the tornado plan, then this is what happens. We first have an electronic megaphone that has a siren. In fact, I'm going to let you hear that siren because it's rather noisy. Stand by. Okay, that siren
I'm going to hear that.
is what we will hear on a Sunday morning if we are activating the tornado plan.
Okay.
At that point, the team manager, the team leader that morning will come into the sanctuary or into the bridge service if it's at the 11 o'clock hour, or the 8:30 service, the team leader outside will come into the main sanctuary. They will hold their hand up. Pastor Kip will stop the service, and we will simply tell everybody we are activating the tornado plan. Now, at that point, your children will already be taken care of, because the children's plan is that all of the kids in Sunday school will move via the central stairwell downstairs, and they'll all be placed in rooms 129, 131, 133, 135. All of those odd-numbered rooms are underground because there are no windows in those rooms, so they're much safer. All of the babies will be moving straight downstairs to the reset area, which is the kids area that's basically right under the Williams Chapel.
Okay.
Now, if it's a situation where we have people in the bridge service, if it's an 11 o'clock service, all of those people will be going downstairs as well.
Okay. So Jim, it's Sunday morning. We're sitting in worship, and a fire happens. What would you like the congregation to do?
Well, the first thing that's going to happen, they're going to hear a fire alarm in the background going beep, 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 and that fire alarm is pretty loud. Pastor Kip, if this is the room that we're talking about, will stop the service and he'll say, we have a fire in the building, we need to exit the building. This entire right-hand side of the sanctuary will go through these doors and turn to the left and go out into the parking lot. Okay. And way away from the building so that the fire trucks will have a chance to pull in. Okay. The group that's over on this side, which is the left side of the congregation, they will go through the main doors and straight out the back where we used to have the trailers located.
Okay, and what about our kiddos?
Okay, the kids will automatically be taken care of. The nursery workers have trained and have instructions to take all of the children, and that includes the babies, and the Sunday school teachers will all move to the tree line, which is out behind the church, and they will stand out in that area until the fire is clear. Okay.
Jim, let's say we're in the building and someone knocks over a candle, or we see a small fire happen. We go to a fire extinguisher? Is that what you'd like us to do?
We do, Amy. We have fire extinguishers all over the building, and they're in white cases on the wall. They're quite heavy, but what you do is you open the door to the fire extinguisher box. You take the extinguisher off the hook if it's on the hook inside. You reach up and you support it by the handle. You pull really hard on the pin and pull the pin out of the handle. Then you take the wand off of the extinguisher, point it at the base of the fire, and squeeze and work back and forth across the base of the fire. And that generally will extinguish most small fires here at Asbury.
So at that point, we really don't need to alert the fire department if it's something small that we can put out on our own?
If it's something small, say you've knocked a candle over in a wastebasket and it flames up all of a sudden and you can get to an extinguisher quickly, then I would go ahead and just put the fire out. If the fire continues to grow and it's something you cannot handle, at that point, we need to be calling 911 and get the fire department on the way.
Okay, and talk me through that process of calling 911.
Okay, calling 911, the 911 operators first, they want to know that This is Asbury Methodist Church, and we have a fire. The address is 6690 Cahaba Valley Road. And it's always good to give them the address at the very beginning because they get the fire engines rolling, and then they tell them the proper things that they need to know. For instance, they need to know whether they pull up on the left side, the Doug Baker side, or the right side of the church, which is our office side. They also need to know that we're going to send somebody to the curb, and they're going to be moving their arms and yelling, hey, hey, this is it, so they can take them right to the side of the fire and save time.
Mm-hmm. Jim, another type of emergencies that you all deal with are medical emergencies. And I imagine that's a lot of the type of emergencies you deal with. This is a medical bag. What's in this, and where are they?
Okay, one of the things, this is the large medical kit that's in the office. It's behind the counter where Trish Barnes sits, where our receptionist actually sits. And this is the major medical bag. This bag has all kinds of things in it. We probably would use this bag more for working with our physician who's on duty on Sunday mornings.
Okay, so that's a great question. So you have physicians that work on Sunday mornings during worship.
Right, as a subset of our security team, we have a medical team as well. And the medical team is made up of several physicians who go to church here and several emergency room trained specialists. And they volunteer their time. They're here the full time, 4 hours during the Sunday session. Now, the bag itself is a bag that contains a number of things. One of the things that's in the bag is a blood pressure cuff that we use. We also have basic first aid kit. We have bandages. We have glucose monitoring equipment. We have a pulse oximeter on the top. And we have a number of things that maybe would be used in more advanced medical situations.
Okay.
Now, we also have smaller first aid kits all over the building. At the information desk, every information desk has a first aid kit, Band-Aids and things that you might normally use that you can probably handle yourself.
Okay, so say there's a medical emergency and we're in the sanctuary. Someone passes out in the row. How do we help that person? Well,
one of the things that I wanted to mention is that our security team is very highly trained in medicine as well. We all are certified in CPR. We are all certified in AED, which are the defibrillators that are all over the building. We all have basic and some advanced first aid. And we also, handle a number of other, medical emergencies like traumatic injuries. We've all been trained in traumatic injury medicine, and so that's a very helpful kind of thing for us.
Okay, so someone's in the pew and has an emergency, or we see someone that may be having trouble. How do we alert you?
Okay, let's say it's a Sunday morning. You're in services, either the bridge or the main sanctuary, and you notice somebody maybe they look a little lightheaded or dizzy, or somebody keels over in front of you a row or so. There are a couple things we need you to do quickly because seconds matter here. The first thing that we need you to do is not to speculate over what's wrong with them, but we need you to put your hand up immediately like this, even if it's at a time that Pastor Kip or Pastor Robert are teaching and are praying. Put your hand up and say, I need help right now. This person has a medical problem and I need a security team person here now. And then the next thing that has to happen is that row that person is on, you guys need to empty the row and go to the back of the sanctuary. Okay. It's very difficult to get people out of a pew, and usually it's hand and feet, but we need to get them to the aisle to where we have more room to be able to work with them. We have somebody calling 911 at that same point, plus we have somebody bringing the defibrillator to that person.
Okay, great. Jim, we're all painfully aware of disruptive and sometimes violent events that happen in public places. And we don't expect something like that to ever happen at Asbury. But if it were, what is your plan?
Well, we have a plan to handle disruptive and violent events, Amy, and it's a plan that we practice on a regular basis. Our security team members are highly trained. We're trained by local SWAT teams. Our plan is that we always bridge the gap, and we bridge the gap between the time an incident happens and the time professional people arrive to help us with that problem. In the case that we had an active shooter in the sanctuary, then we have a plan for that.
And what is that? What do you want us to do?
Okay, the first thing that our congregation needs to do, if God forbid an active shooter ever gets in here, and keep in mind that we are trained to stop these folks before they ever get into the sanctuary. We watch people in the mornings. We have most of our doors, downstairs are locked, and we have certain entrances that are constantly watched. And our goal is to stop somebody before they ever get into the sanctuary or inside the bridge. Now, if somebody makes it in here and we have an unfortunate incident where firearms are involved or somebody's threatening our pastor or our membership, then what we need to happen immediately is that we need every single person here down on the floor and under the pews. We don't need anyone getting up and running to get your children. For instance, we don't want somebody standing up and running and waving their arms and getting upset. We need everybody down on the floor, and I promise you the situation, we will resolve the situation very, very quickly. But we don't need people running around while this is going on in here. Everybody needs to be here, probably be over in 10 seconds or less.
And so our children then, that may be in children's care down the hall, what happens with them?
Okay, we have a commitment to our children, the kids in the Sunday school classes and the kids in the nursery as well. We will never leave those children. No matter what's happening here in the main sanctuary or what's happening in the bridge, our security folks here at the church are trained to stay with those kids no matter what. We will always protect the children.
Okay.